In our last session, we discussed about constant pruning. Okay, in pruning can be done in two different ways. What is this? Union pruning can be done in two different ways. One is with constant mapping, another one is pruning configuration table. Okay, so we discussed about constant mapping in our earlier session. Now in this session, I'm going to discuss about with this pruning configuration table. Okay, so what is this pruning configuration table? So what SAP is suggesting here is to apply a pruning via this configuration table, we need to create one database table in HANA. Okay, so I will show you, with an example directly. So pruning mechanism and all same, nothing changes. Okay, so by using pruning, we are excluding some of the nodes processing from the union so that it improves the performance of the calculation view. Okay, so this is our last example what we did with this one. So now when coming to this pruning configuration table, in our here in my scenario on my schema, I created one pruning configuration table. So this is the pruning configuration table. So just to save the time, I'm not creating this table from the scratch, but I will show you how I created it. Okay, so when I go to the definition of this pruning configuration table, there is nothing naming convention we need to follow while creating this pruning configuration, nothing like that. Whatever you need, you can give in your own way of naming for your table. But the important thing is you must follow this structure. Okay, the data type and length are also not a matter, but the column names and all must be in the same way. Here in our SAP portal also it said this is the pruning configuration table example, calc scenario, input, column, option, low, high. So when I come to my example, I added one more extra column called schema. Okay, by you having this schema, it is working properly, so I added this one also. So schema is the first column, calc scenario, nothing but our calculation view name. Okay, input and one column for column name, option, low value, high value. These are the 7 columns we need to provide in this pruning configuration table. And when coming to data type and all, it's up to you, whatever you want you can give. Then no need to define any key column for this table. Okay, so I defined my pruning configuration table in this way, and when coming to content of my table, already like this I am mentioning. So Sysbic is the schema where all our schemas calculation units will be exposed to, and then the calculation scenario. Okay, so what is this calc underscore scenario column? In the calc underscore scenario column, we need to provide our calculation view name along with the path. For example, when coming to this particular CV underscore pruning calculation view, this particular calculation view is available under my class package. For example, if you have further sub packages are there, then you need to provide the entire path properly, separated with this backslash. Okay, class slash CV pruning, because it is only one package under this my have my CV. Okay, so this is the calc scenario column importance. Here also system SAP telling what is what and all. Pruning configuration table, calc scenario, fully qualified name of the calculation view. And what is next? Input, name of the data source in the union node of the calculation view. So what it means is, for example, this input. Okay, further columns I will explain with our example. Okay, na? So this is the two entries which I created for a different example. Now let's create one calculation view and apply this pruning mechanism using this by using pruning configuration table. So since table is already available, I'm not creating table. In your case, if you are trying to practice on your own system, now create one pruning configuration table with your own way of naming convention. But these columns must be present and the column technical names must be as it is. Okay, so make sure that one. So once the pruning configuration table is ready, then you can go to creating your own calculation view. So mostly what I will do is I will use the same calculation view example which I explained the constant mapping. Okay, similar kind of calculation view I am going to create now. Okay, so I'm right clicking on my folder, creating new calculation view, CV underscore sales underscore pruning underscore example 2. Okay, I'm just adding 2 at the end of my calculation view name. Here also I am designing my calculation view in the same way. So I can copy the existing calculation view also, but for the people who are only seeing this one, it will be helpful. Okay, and that too, it won't give any confusion if I do it from scratch. So I'm taking my T1 underscore sales table here, and this table contains only India sales, okay, Indian country sales. And I'm going to change this projection name also to sales underscore IN. IN is a Indian country code here. Okay, and I'm taking one more projection into my design, and I'm bringing T2 underscore sales table into this projection. So here also I am adding all to the output, and I am changing my projection name to sales underscore DE. Why? Because in this particular table I have only German country information. Now to add both the data into one data set, I am adding union here, and I am mapping my Indian sales information to this union node and German country sales information to my union node. Okay, and further by using this auto map, I am adding to all the fields to the target. Now I am adding this union to the aggregation node, and in the aggregation node I am adding all to the output, and I am realigning my quantity column to the last field, key figure column, and unit next above to the key figure section. So like this I realigned, and I went to semantics. I am realigning my CV by clicking on this auto layout, and then next this auto assign, automatically assigned, and then go to view properties. I am removing my privileges here, and then activating my calculation view. So the basic design of my calculation view was completed. Now I can see my calculation view was activated, and if I go for a data preview or right click on it and go to generate select SQL and then execute, I can do data preview also, but yeah, this is also fine. Execute. Now my CV is working perfectly. Now applying pruning concept on my calculation view by using pruning configuration table. So how to configure it with pruning? How to configure means if you want to apply pruning configuration table into this calculation view, you need to go to semantics. Okay, you need to go to semantics section and go to view properties. In the view properties under the advanced section, there is a pruning configuration table option. Here on this pruning configuration table option, you must select your pruning configuration table name. Okay, so in my case, my pruning configuration table name is sales underscore pruning underscore 2. This is my pruning configuration table name. I am selecting it. That's it. Okay, just you need to select your pruning configuration table name, and automatically pruning will be applied on your calculation view. But only the design is completed, but on our pruning configuration table we need to maintain entries, means definition we need to maintain how exactly this pruning to be worked on our calculation view. So now what I am going to do is I am going to maintain some entries on this table. So for this, what I am going to do, I am going to my pruning configuration table, going to generate and insert statement. I am creating one insert statement on this table, and I know the structure of my table. On the first column I need to give the schema name, which is nothing but sysbic. Okay, so go here and provide sysbic on the first column underscore sys underscore pic. Okay, this way you need to provide your first column information, and second column information is nothing but the package name slash your calculation view, entire path, fully qualified path of your calculation view. Because I have only one package, I am giving simply class slash this one. Okay, so I'm going to my insert statement. Here I am giving information as class slash CV underscore sales underscore pruning underscore example 2. This is my fully qualified calculation view name. And what was my third column? My third column is the input. What is input here? So input is nothing but in our calculation view, what are the inputs to our union node, because this is union pruning. So what are the inputs for our union node? Those are comes under input. So sales underscore IN is one input, sales underscore DE is another input. Okay, so we need to create two entries on this configuration table for the two different inputs. So on the third column, I'm adding sales underscore IN. In the similar way, I need to add one more row into my table, but and in the second row, I need to update as sales underscore DE. This is for the second projection node. Sales IN is the first projection node, sales DE is the second projection node in my calculation view. So what was the next column? After the input, the next column name is the column name. So in my pruning, in my calculation view, based upon which column I am differentiating my data. In case of constant selection, we created one new column to differentiate the data between multiple nodes, right? In the same way, here we are not creating new. If you want, you can create, but from my data set itself, on my existing data, on my existing structure of my table, I have one column called country. On the country, from say all the sales data, this country was updated with IN, India country code, and all the data coming from this T2 sales for this country was updated with DE. So I can use this country column itself as a unique column to identify the data set. Okay, so this country column name I'm going to provide in my next column. So country. So where I am providing this country, I am providing this country column name under the column section. Okay, so same thing will goes to the second row also. Nothing changed here. So what next? And after providing the column name information, we need to provide the option. So what kind of option? SAP suggesting you can give any of these operators here. Okay, under option section, you can use equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater or equal to, between. Anything, any of these kind of operators you can provide under this one. But in our requirement, okay, in our requirement, either I will pass country IN or I will pass country DE. Okay, so it means it is always equal to operator in my scenario. So that's why what I'm going to do under this option, I am passing equal to operator, which satisfies. In your case, for example, if you are applying this pruning configuration table based upon any physical year kind of selection, then you can give greater than or equal to, less than or equal to also in this option section. Okay, so after option, what was the next column? Low value. It means nothing but what was the constant in our constant mapping, how we define constant. In the same way, here we need to provide the low value. So for sales underscore IN, I will always provide my selection as IN, which is India. And for sales DE, the country selection must be DE. So this is my low option. So when I provide my where condition on country is equal to IN, then automatically system will bring data only from this particular projection node, not from the any other. And whenever I pass my where condition on country is equal to DE, the system will fetch data only from sales DE and ignore the other projection node. Like this, if you have around 5 to any number of multiple number of projection nodes, based upon the selection you are providing on the where condition, it fetches data from the corresponding nodes only, and excluding the other unnecessary nodes. Okay, so now these two statements I need to insert into my configuration table. As of now, my pruning configuration table contains only 2 records. Now I am going to insert these two newly created 2 rows. Okay, I'm executing this one. 2 rows got added here. HANA user, refresh. You see, now I can see my 2 new rows added here. Next. So now go to our calculation view. So we've seen already data preview. Let me remove close remaining. Okay, so this is my calculation view. I am right clicking on my calculation view, generate select SQL, and if I just normally execute my select query, it is perfectly working. And if I right click on it, go to visualize explain plan, then I can see system is fetching data from my both tables T1 sales and T2 sales, because as of now in my select query I didn't pass any selection condition. Okay, so second time I am generating select SQL. Here I will try to pass my where condition. So I'm trying to provide my where condition on country column, and I am passing country is equal to IN, India. Okay, so IN. So what happening here now, if I try to go for explain plan here, one second, it not worked out. Why? Okay, so pruning was not applied. You see, when I go for result section, it is fetching data from the both the tables. The reason behind is, in my pruning configuration table, you see sales, the name of the CV I given wrongly. I am mixed this E after L. Okay, so that is the reason. So let's correct the data. Okay, sales underscore pruning. Okay, now insert these two records. Yeah. I need to delete the wrong ones. Now, these are the correct ones. Now, if I, run one more time, my explain plan on my select statement. Now see, the data was fetching only from the column table T1 underscore sales. Now, because since I provided my selection on country IN, so which is nothing but T1 underscore sales, system is fetching only from my one table. Other table got ignored, which is nothing but excluded from the selection. In the similar way, if I am giving my selection on DE and then explain plan, you see now system is fetching data only from one table. Okay, and what happens, for example, whatever this DE I am giving in small letters instead of capital letters. I am giving in small letters. Let's see what exactly happens here. You see, system is not fetching because the data is not available on the pruning configuration table, where there is no selection for this DE at all. So system is not fetching data from any of the table. Okay, so similarly, you can try with what I can do is just so this is how exactly pruning works. Union pruning works with the pruning configuration table. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So what we did, we created one pruning. We need to create one pruning configuration table, and in this table we need to maintain entries, schema name, CV, fully qualified CV name, and the projection node names, and the column name, and the operator which we are applying on the filter, and the values. Okay, so by what is the advantage, compared to this pruning configuration table mechanism and the constant mapping. So same example we did with constant mapping and with this one also. Sorry. But in constant mapping, whenever someone added new projection node to the calculation view, we need to do settings there also. Just a second. So using this pruning configuration table, you can easily, manage whenever there are some changes that needs to be done on the selection, on where conditions and all. Okay, operators side. So this is the example, explaining pruning, union pruning using pruning configuration table. So I hope it is clear, and yeah, I'm stopping my recording.